The best kind of coffee is cold coffee. I don't know about you, but no matter what the weather is outside, I prefer my coffee over ice. Don't get me wrong, hot coffee has its place. When I go out to eat for brunch, I enjoy a nice cup of hot coffee with my meal. But given the choice, I'm almost always going to go with cold coffee. Why? Allow me to break it down for you. The difference lies in the actual brewing method. Iced coffee starts out as hot coffee, the way we all know how to brew coffee, and cold brew is actually brewed cold, as the name implies. To me, the most important difference between iced coffee and cold brew is in the flavor. When compared directly, cold brew coffee will have very little acidity and bitterness, and the flavor is smoother and a bit sweeter. When you brew hot coffee, the hot water extracts the oils from the coffee beans, which is where the acidity comes from. Since cold brew is brewed without any hot water, those oils aren't extracted, and the result is very low in acidity. If you find that the acidity of hot coffee bothers your stomach, switching to a cold brew may help you significantly. Iced coffee is as simple as pouring regular coffee over ice. You can use any coffee grounds in any brewing method you prefer. Will you make a pot of drip coffee in a coffee maker? Use a pour-over, a French press, or even instant coffee. It can be served iced. Making your own iced coffee couldn't be simpler. But there is one very important tip worth noting. If you don't let the coffee cool before pouring over ice, your coffee is going to taste very watered down. Think about it. If you pour a steaming hot cup of coffee directly over ice, the ice is going to immediately melt. If you brewed the perfect cup of coffee, it's now going to be very diluted from the melted ice. So, you have two options. Allow the coffee to fully cool before serving, either by leaving it out or placing in the fridge. Brew your coffee extra strong knowing that the ice is going to dilute it a bit. When you order an iced coffee from a coffee shop, there's a decent chance that the coffee you're getting is actually a day old. Many places will save coffee from the day prior, store it in the fridge, and serve it cold the next day for their iced coffee. While it's not fair to assume that all coffee shops do that, it's certainly not uncommon. If you're looking for fresh coffee, be sure to keep that in mind. If you don't feel like brewing your own, you can also purchase plenty of ready-to-drink iced coffee. More than just a fad, cold brew is truly the best coffee in my opinion. The brewing process for cold brew is simply steeping coarse ground coffee in water for 12-24 hours. The coffee slowly steeps, either at room temperature or in the fridge, which results in a different flavor than hot coffee. Cold brew is most commonly made as a coffee concentrate. One major benefit of a concentrate is that you can more easily store the cold brew in the fridge without taking up a ton of valuable space. With a concentrate, you pour it into a cup and then add water or milk, typically at a ratio of 1:2, coffee concentrate to water. But the beauty is that you have full control over how strong the cup is. By starting with the concentrate, you can dilute it perfectly to your taste preferences. The brewing process for cold brew is actually very simple. While there is special equipment you can buy to make the process easier, you don't need any special equipment to make a great cold brew at home. As a coffee lover, I make my own cold brew concentrate often. So here is my own cold brew recipe you can make at home without any special equipment. Add 10 ounces, about 285 coarse ground coffee to a pitcher. Note, you can use regular ground coffee as well. Coarse coffee will yield the best result and make straining the coffee grounds easier. But any coffee will work. Add 5 cups of cold water and mix everything up well to ensure all the coffee grounds are wet. If you use less coffee to begin with, just stick with the same ratio. For every ounce of ground coffee, add 1/2 cup of filtered water. Let's steep at room temperature for 16 hours. Steeping the coffee at room temperature actually extracts more flavor and yields a much bolder, stronger coffee, so I prefer that. Also note that anywhere from 12-24 hours should work great. I just prefer 16 hours. Strain through a fine mesh strainer into a bowl. Rinse the pitcher. Pour the coffee back in, then repeat one more time. If your coffee was ground too finely, you may want to use a cheesecloth or coffee filter to make sure none of the ground slipped through. Pour into a mason jar or smaller container. You should get 3 cups of cold brew concentrate and add to the fridge to enjoy it cold. When ready to serve, use a 2:1 water to coffee ratio. I pour about 1/3 cup, roughly 2.5 oz of coffee concentrate over ice and then pour 2/3 cup water over that for the perfect cup of cold brew. Generally speaking, cold brew has more caffeine than a typical cup of traditional iced coffee. However, that's not automatically going to be the case. If you were to compare equal-sized portions from different coffee shops, you will find the caffeine content vastly different. So, which is stronger? If you compare the same amount of cold brew to iced coffee, the cold brew is going to have more caffeine. This is because the ratio of coffee to water is so much greater, with iced coffee being more diluted. That being said, the final product may not actually be stronger. Remember how we said that most cold brew begins as a concentrate? This concentrate is very high in caffeine, possibly 3 times higher than its hot coffee counterpart. But we add water or milk to this concentrate before serving. Based on the amount of liquid added, the strength of that coffee will vary. As a general rule of thumb, you'll find a cold brew to be a bit stronger and higher in caffeine. So, if you need that extra boost in the morning, turn to a cold brew. We are almost wrapping up. These are the common differences between these two. Hope you liked this video. Please comment, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos.